Coming up next on Carib Nation is a chat with Cecilia Kwashi, an economic development specialist here on the island of Grenada. She's also president of Soroptimist International in Grenada. And if you don't know what Soroptimist is, stay tuned and you'll find out.
Hi, I'm Wendy Fitzwilliam, Miss Universe 1998, and I'm watching you, Carib Nation.
Hello, I'm Doris Dean. Welcome to Carib Nation. Today we're going to talk with a woman who is described as one of the pioneering women on the island here in Grenada. She is the economic planning advisor as a consultant, and she's also president of Soroptimist International here in Grenada. She has done a great deal of work helping poor people, older people, and working community development generally. Cecilia Kwashi, thank you very much for joining us on Carib Nation. It's a pleasure to talk to you here on location in Grenada. And we'd like to talk a little bit about some of the work that you have been doing in Grenada. You are regarded as one of the pioneering women in Grenada. At the moment, you are the president of Soroptimist International. A number of people have never heard that word, and some don't know what it means. Tell us, what is Soroptimist International? What is the work that they're involved with?
Soroptimist International is a worldwide movement. It's the largest service organization of women. There are over 100,000 members and 3,000 clubs in 117 countries. There are 4 federations, Europe, America, Great Britain and Ireland, and Southwest Pacific. We have given service. Usually our service activities are classified under 6 program heads: economic and social development, health, education, the environment, human rights and the status of women, international goodwill and understanding. The term Soroptimist means sorrow, from Latin optimist, the best of sisters, and actually was founded in Alameda County in California, 1921. And over that time we have been as well known as we could be, and not so well known as you've rightly pointed out. I remember going to Brighton to the conference 2 years ago. When I asked the taxi driver asked me what it was all about, and I said, Soroptimist Conference. He said, what's that all about? So, you know, we are not as well known as we think we should, and this is why in our programs we tend to highlight our work in the community, and in this way we think we would become better known and be able to reach out to the communities as much as we can. In Grenada, the Grenada Club was chartered in 1971. And from the inception, through the initiative of the late Louis Rowley, he was then permanent secretary in the Ministry of Social Services, we took a special interest in the school for the deaf, as it then was. At that time, they were located at Cherry Hill. And through the initiative and interest of the government and the Governor Baxter, the interest in the school developed, and subsequently, about 8 years ago, we secured land at Park Place in St. Paul and built a new complex there. The dormitory was built with funds raised by Soroptimist, and the other parts of the complex um, were built by donations from various individuals and corporate bodies like Cable and Wireless. A few banks donated substantial sums to build the administrative section, the classrooms. And this labor was provided by the engineering corps that comes down almost every year from the States.
So you must have a vibrant fundraising operation.
We try to. Recently, there are so many competing fundraising organizations that a lot of the funding that we need usually our activities are limited by the amount of funds we can raise, but yet we make the best of those funds. And sometimes the Federation helps with donating funds from any of their charities towards some of the worthwhile projects. For example, this is the 4th year that we are sponsoring the annual reading competition organized by the Grenada Library Association. And in the first year, we donated our own funds. The second year, the Federation donated sufficient funds to allow us to have an award ceremony, give prizes, certificates, and all of that. And that is ongoing. Literacy, under education, literacy is one of the main elements that we try to focus on because it is the foundation of everything else in development. And so we give all our efforts and attention to the development of literacy under the education program head. We also look at health issues. And since the Beijing conference, we have tended to take a more careful look at what we are doing for health. We've sponsored with the association a quiz on AIDS and have given grants to people. We donated funds to help buy an air conditioning unit at the children's ward. But we see the need for more substantial input and outreach. So in our new plan, we are developing a project on diabetes, its detection and management. And we have Dr. Erling Thomas, who with 2 other members in the club will be the management committee for that. We think this is the best way to go, having a doctor,
of course,
see what should be done where and how. January the 16th is Caribbean Soroptimist Day. Now there are 18 clubs in the region which belong to the Great Britain and Ireland Federation, mainly the English Commonwealth. But within the Caribbean, all 18 clubs have a regional body. And at our last regional conference in Tobago, that was in August, we came up with suggestions to increase our image in this society, do more projects on a regional basis, and had a very deep soul-searching exercise. Why don't many more people know about us? So we want to do some more projects on a regional basis. And on the 16th of January, it's the day on which the first club was chartered in Trinidad and Tobago by the late Audrey Jeffers. So January the 16th is Caribbean Soroptimist Day. And we want, at Federation, we will have a meeting to launch a program, this has been suggested, promotion of wellness from the 2000 and on. And we want in the Caribbean to launch this program launch this activity on January the 16th. So under the health program focus, we think this will take off and we will do all the little things that will promote wellness among people.
Now, how do you interrelate with the government organizations? You've got the Ministry of Community Development, Youth Affairs, and some of the other Women's Affairs. How do you interface with these organizations?
We, Soroptimists, interacts, collaborates, cooperates with all NGOs who have similar objectives as ourselves in bringing benefits of whatever nature to the communities. We have done projects with Grenade. We are on a Grenada Save the Children agency.
Okay.
We are an affiliate member of the Grenada National Organization of Women, which since Beijing has brought into focus the theme empowerment of women, and we work always with them in their management and policy planning. When GNOW, that's the Grenada National Organization of Women, was asked by the government to do a draft policy paper for women, for the Ministry of Women's Affairs, Soroptimist was part of that committee. And there are other areas where we invite organizations, other NGOs, as long as the work we are doing fits in with their own program. Most of our activities do not always lend themselves. Sometimes the scope is small. Some are small group oriented or special age group, like the reading competition, it's children from age 10 to 15.
Right.
And we do that through the 11 community centers.
I see.
And the plan of action does not necessarily warrant liaising with another NGO. As necessity demands, we do collaborate and cooperate with other NGOs.
Now, do you get any funding from the government or from any of them at all?
No, we raise all our funds. We have teas. I already have an idea for a tea on Valentine's Day next year. And sometimes we have takeaway lunches towards the end of the month, or a raffle, cake sales.
You're
we
just
have
constantly
those.
going.
Yes, we have to pick a time when it's beneficial,
yeah.
to be profitable to do it. And the competition out there, everybody's raising funds in the same way and competing for the same dollar. So we have to be very selective.
Creative.
Yes, right.
We talked before about your work with older people. This year was the International Year of Older People, and we've done a lot of work on older people. One of the things, the way I came to know about Soroptimists, of course, as I told you, my mother lives in one of the complexes that was built in Barbados by Soroptimists. And I wonder what else across the region you're doing. You talked about health. Housing, I suppose, is one of the things.
I saw the Soroptimist village in Barbados in 1993 when the regional conference was held there. And without any hesitation, I figured this is just what we need for older folk. And when I came down here, I spoke to a friend about it. The homes that are now in operation are doing a good job, but we think the time is coming when the type of accommodation that older people need would not always be confined to those who need, unable to help themselves.
Total care.
Yes, total care.
Yes.
But others who were tired of housekeeping and wanted to have some more time to themselves, like what the Soroptimist village in Barbados offers.
Very impressive.
It is the most impressive thing I've seen, and I think it's a model that we should try to follow. In Trinidad, there is Shangri-La, which is a non-profit. They just charge the patient sufficient to pay their way. I am waiting for information from Jamaica. I have written to the manager at the Soroptimist village in Barbados. So I'm gathering information from those countries, and I'm adding to it what I can find about the older people here from the 13 homes, I've been in touch with about 4 of them already, and using some information from the poverty survey to present that material as a first start in identifying the circumstances of the elderly.
That's a great start for the year 2000.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about you as a pioneering woman. You were regarded as you were the first economic advisor to the government when you came back from Canada. You've been back and forth between Grenada and Canada. Give us a sense of why you went out, why you came back, went back again, and what are the things that brought you back, and what are your passions in this regard as an economist?
Well, I came from very humble beginnings. I was born in Carriacou, the Sister Isle, and at that time they didn't have secondary schools up there. So when I won a scholarship, I attended the Anglican High School here and did as well as I could. And after a few years as a public servant, I thought I should further my studies. Now, scholarships didn't go begging in those days.
That's right.
So one had to go and fend for oneself, which
yes.
I did. And then I came back on graduation. I got study leave for that first degree program. And I came back. I found the political situation a bit rough going.
That was around when?
In the mid-60s. So I migrated to Canada. The country was looking for professionals. And I think I got in just in time before the Quebec issue erupted. And then I worked my way up through the civil service at the federal level, up to the level of a senior policy analyst. And it is during that term of employment that I gained much of the analytical experience that I have, and set my goals on coming back to Grenada, because I found so much was wanting, and there was I, just another policy analyst. The country was trying to move ahead, and I thought I could do as well or better back home. But I knew I needed some extra tools and techniques, and so I took a year sabbatical from the Canadian government and went to Manitoba to do my master's, and I specialized in third world economic development, specifically to familiarize myself with the problems of the third world, away from the third world.
Of course, to make it
and then I
applicable
came
when
back
you came back
to see what it was like on the ground. I think I was fortunate when I came back to have been given the opportunity by the late H.A. Blaze to function at a high level of performance and activity in policy development and programs for building the country. You will recall in '85, it was right after the revolution. And the place was minus, whatever. And in the 5 years that the Blaze administration, up to March 1990, Grenada experienced the most recent, peaceful, stable, and economic development that is yet to be matched. There is a lot of activity going on now, but the other trimmings, the peace and the stability, is not as satisfying in my point of view.
So you don't think that Grenada has fully recovered from the revolution?
Well, the Blaze laid the foundation, but subsequent administrations have not built on it. Imagine a house foundation is there, and unless you keep topping up with the right things, you are not going to make as much progress as you might. the roads that were started, they deteriorated, and every time we are starting all over. So this is one of the weaknesses, maybe in development. Unless the prosperity is sustained, where do you get the wherewithal to keep the momentum going? I think the reason for that outstanding performance may have been, or I would say has been, the confidence which the donor community and the United States had in Mr. Blaise. So that whatever assistance was forthcoming, he used it well. And the country has seen that benefit. I mean, you compare then and now, and then the international conditions for trade were also good.
Yeah.
In 87 and 88, bananas were booming.
Yes, of course.
The biggest nutmeg bonuses were paid. So while the trade situation may have been fortuitous, it happened, and we were ready to
take advantage
of it. So there's a lot of confidence in the sort of, one would have in the sort of policies that were advanced, and they seem to have worked. Today, I do not know. The donors have withdrawn their funds, not because they don't have any more, but other beneficiaries are coming up. Other people are coming up for assistance, the Eastern countries. And we have a lot of crises which suggest that one should be cautious in how you use your resources. And small economies, vulnerable as they are, weak as they are economically, must convince that you are a good risk before we can say, yes, we will. And I think that's where most of these small economies are at this time. There is something they can do. Several of them are looking for a transformation from service economies, the banana crisis, and dictate that. To transform to a service economy, you've got to anticipate more, prepare yourself more, your human resource development and all of that. And
have
then
that infrastructure in place to build out. Yeah.
So that the stages of preparation are different from coming from a pure agriculture, the transition. So that's something that needs to be more carefully thought out. And I think the human resource development requirement is greater now. It's great, and it's greater now if you want to transform into a service economy. And this is one of the gaps I see at the present time. There's a lot of concrete going on, pardon my term, but the balance of funding should be tilted a little more in developing the human resources. That's just my view. And I think there is some justification for it. If you look at the four giants in the Far East, Taiwan, Singapore, and those, the human resource development preceded, yes. And it's only in recent times that the weaknesses, because other things didn't happen, but that is still there to sustain whatever else they may do. And that's a comparison I make to tell me that our human resource development effort needs to be given more attention if we really want to transform, to put more emphasis on the service sector. We can do it, and it's the way to go.
And that is the whole Caribbean.
Yes, and the tourism thing.
Yeah.
But we are not doing them in the right order.
I can tell that you're going to be a busy person.
I don't know.
With the number of ideas that you have and the things that interest you, will keep you busy for some time, because this is a fundamental project, I suppose, a fundamental issue that has to be dealt with.
Yes.
If we're talking about Caribbean unity in the next century, and that is something that our governments in the Caribbean have to pay attention to. What do you think you can say to women or people outside of the Caribbean that they can do to help? What is needed for them to be mobilized to bring more assistance to these countries, or can they at all? Is this something that has to be done here in the Caribbean?
Well, if we take, even within the human resource subject matter area, I think women must become aware of their potential and be prepared to make more sacrifices to empower themselves. For starts, they should try to get their children to use the opportunities, ask for more opportunities and get the children to use them. And then they themselves should be backing up.
They should be the example
Right,
for those
right.
children to go.
So there is that deficiency among the women. Education is key to everything. For me. If you don't know how you should keep healthy, you cannot be a good employee.
Now, that was something I was talking about just recently, and that is that Barbados is an example of
Yes.
the efficient use of education, the
Right.
opportunity for education.
Right.
And this is something that the rest of the Caribbean has to really take on vigorously in order to
You're so
make
right.
it into the next level. Well, it's certainly been a pleasure talking to you. I've learned a great deal, and I hope many more people know more about Soroptimists.
I hope so
And
too.
we'll follow some of the work that you're doing.
Yes, I'm hoping that I can bring these things forward to completion and feel that it is going to be of benefit to as many people as possible.
Great talking to you. Thanks again for
Thank
joining
you.
us in Carib
It's
Nation.
been wonderful sharing these thoughts with
Great.
you.
Okay. That's it on Carib Nation for today. We've been talking with Cecilia Kwashi, President of Soroptimist International and an economic planning advisor, one of the pioneers here on the island of Grenada. Thanks for watching Carib Nation, and as usual, do give us a call. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Doris Dean. Until next time.